Welcome to episode 5 of Petey's awesome guest panel. My guest at this time is a man who is not only a legend in, the acting world, but also a legend to all 90s kids out there, including myself. You may know this guy, definitely like everybody who's a Hey Arnold fan. He is known as Harold Berman. Um, he has done Life with Louie as Grunwald and Glenn. He's in the game LA Noir, which is one of the best games in the world, in my opinion. Um, he was on Erie Canal as Simon Holmes. Am I correct?
Erie, Indiana, playing Simon Holmes. Yep.
Yep. And he was also in Picket Fence. My guest at this time is the one, the only, Justin Shenkarow. Justin, it's a pleasure, man. And a
Thank you
true honor.
so much. I'm stoked to be here and talk to you about all these fun shows I worked on in the 90s. This is great. I mean, we're on lockdown mode, but we can talk via Skype. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolute honor. My first question, obviously, this is going to be a cliche question, but you know what? I definitely want to ask this one. And that is, how did you get into acting?
I got in because my parents had a little bakery in Palos Verdes, which is about an hour and a half south of LA, south of like where Hollywood is, where all the agents are. And when I was a little kid, I had this crazy curly hair, and customers would come in and tell my parents that they should get an agent for me because maybe, hey, I'd like acting and I could do pretty well at it. And I guess they heard it a bunch of times till finally, when I was about five and a half, they got me an agent in LA. I started auditioning. I actually didn't get a job for an entire year. And when I was 6, I got my first commercial for Mattel, and they put me in a harness and I was flying around. So between flying and a craft service table, which is the table where they provide all these yummy snacks when you're on set, I was done. I was like, this acting thing is for me.
Awesome. And you're such a natural, charismatic, voice actor. Um, I do want to
Thank
talk
you.
about you know, as a 90s kid loves three things, like as far as watching TV. We love anything Cartoon Network related, we love anything Nickelodeon related, and we also love anything Fox Kids related. And by that I mean Life with Louie, because Life with Louie was one of my favorite shows growing up. I want you to talk about like how you got the job at Life with Louie, like the audition. Take me there, sir.
Yes, Life with Louie was so much fun. I remember the audition. I auditioned for both Grunwald and Glenn. Glenn was the bully. Glenn. And then Grunwald was Louie's best friend. Come on, Louie. And so it was really fun to play those two characters. And in the audition, they had me read, because sometimes in the script on a page it would be Grunwald, Grunwald, Glenn, and then a Louis line. So I was talking back and forth to myself in the different voices, in the Grunwald voice and then the Glenn voice. And fortunately, they liked me. They hired me, and I started doing the gig. It was a blast. I used to try and have my agent bring me in after Louis Anderson would do his recording, because Louis always had an incredible spread of food. He had the best food ever. And, there was usually a lot left over. So I would go in after him and I'd eat all the scraps and I was in heaven. And just working on the show was a blast, because in a lot of the scripts there'd be Grunwald, Grunwald, Glenn. So it was sort of like I was talking to myself like a crazy person, but in the most fun way.
Awesome. Like, did you have a particular favorite episode from Life with Louie?
Jeez, I'll tell you. I mean, I love them all. If there's, I'm trying to think if there's one specific one that I liked over the others. I guess probably the ones that I liked the most were the ones that I had the biggest part in.
Uh, One of my favorite ones, which you did have the biggest part in, was
Yeah.
when Louie goes to Camp Chucky.
Yes, that was hilarious. That
I
was
love that
really
one.
fun.
And it's like, it's like I think we heard we heard Glenn say it's noogie time like 6 times in that episode.
Yeah. It's noogie time.
Oh man, that brings back so many great memories. And another great episode I like, because this was a Grunwald episode, was the encounter episode with the Wembasian aliens.
Yes, that was a ton of fun too. I remember that. That was great. Yeah, they always they gave me great stuff to do. They let me improvise a little bit, bring different elements and dynamics to the characters. We had so much fun doing that. We only did it for, I think it was only one season, and I had heard that Fox loved the show. It was doing extremely well. but they, Louis Anderson, I think, wanted a huge pay increase for another season, and they had a disagreement. So unfortunately, we all lost the job. But Louis was really sweet to me. He was a great guy, incredibly funny, and I loved working on the show. It was a blast. I think we were canceled way ahead of that show. Should have been on forever.
I agree. And
Yeah.
like, what I noticed too is that it was competing with the other Fox hit show, which was ironically similar to Life with Louie, Bobby's World.
Bobby's World, great show. I mean, fantastic. That was on forever, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Years.
it ran like 5 years.
Yeah,
Like
that
five,
was on for many years. So I wish Life with Louie had that chance, but it was such a well written show. So much fun working with the writers and the directors, and of course the rest of the cast. Edie McClurg, I loved Edie. I was in acting class with Edie for years. She played Louie's mom on the show. She was an absolute riot. So funny. The whole cast was awesome.
how was working with Eddie Deason? I believe he played one of the Melvin, or he played all three Melvins.
Eddie Deason, hilarious guy. I mean, just the he was an icon, right? I mean, he'd been in some of the
Reese,
best movies of all time.
yeah, he was best. Like he's in Dexter's Laboratory. He was in
Right.
Creed.
Just a
Oh,
blast. Great guy. A lot of fun to work with him. All the voiceover actors, fortunately, are really kind, nice, no egos, super cool to work with, and funny.
so awesome.
Yeah.
And let me ask before we get into the Hey Arnold questions because that's gonna be one of the funnest like parts because I love Hey Arnold. Like I'm such a mark for it. Uh, as you can see in my voice,
That's
and
great.
big fan of yours too because again I grew up watching it. It wasn't just Hey Arnold. It was other stuff too. It was also Recess. You were in Recess.
Yes.
You were in 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Recess. I played King Bob's henchman. That was a lot of fun. We would go in for Recess and Hey Arnold. Most of the times we'd go in as a group. So all the voiceover actors would come in and we'd record the script from top to bottom. So it would take maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it was really fun because we got to play off each other and improvise. And we were all kids at the time. Um, some of the shows I worked on, I would just go in. It would just be me in the recording booth, and I would just sort of bang out my lines and work with the director. So some the different shows sort of had a different formula in terms of how we worked together.
I see. And but with I gotta ask you too about I want to know your how you got the job for Picket Fence.
Picket fences. So I was working on another show called Erie, Indiana, on NBC, which I absolutely love. By the way, you can watch Erie on Amazon Prime now. I don't know if you've got Amazon,
I
but
do.
Amazon, yeah, you can. They're streaming all the Erie episodes, and I'm trying to bring Erie back. I think it's a fantastic show. If you notice, they brought Twin Peaks back. They brought X Files back. They're bringing Goosebumps back. I think X Files. I mean, I think Erie needs to be rebooted. So let your fans know, Pete, and you can tweet Hearst, you can tweet Lionsgate. Those are the two companies that own the rights to Erie because I really want to bring this show back. It was so much fun to work on. So I was just finishing up that series. We were waiting to find out if we were going to get picked up for a season two. Unfortunately, we didn't. And David Kelly, who was the creator of Picket Fences, really liked my work on Erie, Indiana. So he let my agent know, come and audition for Picket Fences. I went in, I went to go see him, I read the lines. I went to see the other producers and the directors, and then I went to uh, the network, which was CBS, and I got the gig. It was great.
Sweet. And you mentioned Erie, Indiana. Talk to me about like what was it like doing that show?
So much fun. Like probably the most fun I've ever had working on set because it was a young cast and crew. The two creators of the show, Carl Schaefer and Jose Rivera, they were like in their mid 30s at the time, so they were pretty young to have created a television show. It was like their first big break, and so they were always on set. They were super hands-on, really awesome. The whole crew and cast, we were like a family. We worked incredibly hard, but we just had so much fun together. And I mean, just imagine, I was 11 years old. We had our little tree house where we kept all of our clues. I got to ride in a limousine for the first time in one of the episodes. One of the episodes, money was spitting out of an ATM machine. Another one, I was talking to a dog through his braces. I mean, this was like a kid's dream. In the Halloween episode, I was climbing through fog that they sprayed on the set. It was just a blast. And the episodes were so well written, so well done. I think we were way ahead of our time. It's still got a great cult following, And that's why, I mean, if you look at Stranger Things, right, the big hit that was on Netflix, that was totally, a huge homage played to Erie, Indiana. There's so many shows that have been inspired by Erie. And I think Erie needs to be brought back, revived, maybe a darker version of it, a little bit scarier, a little bit weirder, would be a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. It's just awesome. Like, even like I was gonna say too, not only like you did two iconic shows, well, specials if you want to call it. Like you were not only in the Batman animated series as I believe Henry Hamilton, or was
Yep,
it?
that's right. Yeah,
But you
Batman was great. I mean, I love Batman growing up as a kid. Who doesn't love Batman? I still love Batman. So to be able to work on that animated series was a dream come true. It was really fun.
and you were also like I loved your appearance in Batman, but you were also not many people can say this, but you were also Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Get Met. It pays. I did all the Get Met commercials for Charlie Brown. So I did Charlie Brown for like 2 years. I think I was maybe 11 or 12 when I did Charlie Brown. I mean, that was really fun to have sort of been in the Charlie Brown ecosystem, to be able to have voiced Charlie Brown is pretty iconic, which is really neat. That was a ton of fun. I also did, I don't know if you know, um,
Which
uh, I did a Little Sprout for the Green Giant. So when we were kids, I don't. They maybe still have the Green Giant brand, but like when you go to the grocery store in the frozen food section, there's a brand called the Green Giant, and he's like this big sort of green guy, really friendly looking. Anyway, he has a little sidekick called Sprout. So I played Sprout. So I did all the voices for Sprout. But Charlie Brown was awesome. I used to record him sometimes in Los Angeles, and sometimes I'd be in New York, and I would record them in New York too.
very cool.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I'm really going to be excited to talk about. Like, I mean, I loved like everything we talked about, but as a Hey Arnold fan, like I'm a super duper Hey Arnold fan. And before we talk about Hey Arnold, I do want to congratulate you on the Jungle movie that came out.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what, that was really you you were instrumental in that. All the fans of Hey Arnold made the Jungle Movie come back because we, for years, the actors and Craig, the creator of the show, wanted Hey Arnold to come back. It was such a fantastic series, brilliant, and so many great morals, such a wonderfully put together show. And we wanted the show to come back, and the Hey Arnold fans created an incredible petition on Facebook, and I think they got tens of thousands of signatures, which is that's what convinced Nickelodeon to make the Jungle Movie back. And it was fun. We got to find out where Arnold's parents were.
To give us some closure.
Yeah, exactly. Now we want a new season. We want Hey Arnold to have a
I,
new season,
I
season
saw
6,
I saw your video and I couldn't agree more with
right?
you were in character as Harold, like saying Hey Arnold should get a sixth season.
Yeah. Hey Arnold, we need season 6. Come on, or I'll pound ya.
Oh, that's nostalgic right there. I do want to talk about like the Hey Arnold questions, like how did you get the role like of Harold Berman and in Hey Arnold in general? Tell me what happened.
Yes. So my voiceover agent at the time sent me out for the audition for Harold. I remember I went over there. It was a little voiceover studio in Burbank, in Los Angeles, and I went in there. They had the sides, and I met with Craig Bartlett, who's the creator of the show, brilliant guy. And he said, "Okay, so what are you thinking of for Harold?" And immediately this voice came to me of like this sort of bully guy who was misunderstood. He was vulnerable, but he liked to pick on kids. But he was really a softie in his heart. And I just started reading the lines, and the voice came out naturally with the Harold voice. And I read it with Craig for about 45 minutes, and then I found out later that week that I got the job, which was great. And then I think it was about a month or two later we recorded the pilot, which was the first episode. And then several months after that, we found out that we got a first season pickup, which was a blast. I mean, Hey Arnold was so much fun to work on. A lot of those actors that I worked on with are still some of my closest friends. And I mean, it was just a brilliant show. It was so well written, so well done, so well acted, so just incredible morals. I think it was the best cartoon of all time.
I still remember when the first 10 minutes of it, like 10 minute pilot aired in during Harriet the Spy. When Harriet the Spy came out in 1996, they aired
Yep.
as a preview. 10 minutes of the first pilot of Hey Arnold. I remember because I was 6 years old at the time, and when it first came on in '97, back when I was 7 years old, I
Yeah.
was like, man, this is the show to watch. In fact, I'm gonna say this too, Justin, is that I actually still have the original recordings. Like I used to record like off my TV, like Hey Arnold episodes. I still have the Hey Arnold marathon of 1997 and the Vision episode. You remember with the 3D special?
Yes, that's probably worth a lot of money. That's cool.
Oh, I have, and I remember which episodes it was. It was Save the Tree, New Teacher,
Yep.
and then the Wednesday episode was Helga's Love Potion, and my favorite, like one of my favorite episodes you were in, like I just love your delivery on it, was Gerald's Secret, where you were like as Harold, you're like Gerald on a little pink girly bike with training wheels. I love when you said that.
What's your favorite Hey Arnold episode of all time?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I loved Pigeon Man. I loved
Yeah.
Stoop Kid, and I'll tell you why Stoop Kid was really like if you ask me my favorite one, I'd tell you Stoop Kid, because it's going to be an iconic one, but it's also a really funny one too because especially the fact that you got two bullies from two different shows. You got Danny Kuski, who played Montana Max, interacted with Justin Shenkarow, who was doing Harold now, and was also Glenn.
Yeah.
So I think that was like, you had that dynamic where you had Danny Kuski and Justin Shenkarow interacting.
That's great. You're right. That was a lot of fun. Man, we had so much fun working on that show. It was a blast. I wish you could have, hopefully we'll come back. You should come visit if we do that so you can
I'd
see
like
us
to.
recording live.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up like like watching all of you, Taran, Francesca, and you
Yeah.
and Francesca had such great chemistry on Hang On. Like it was
Oh
a
yeah.
great duo between Harold and Helga.
Yes, Franny. Yeah, she was fantastic. She's so funny, so terrific. But Harold and Helga going at it like
Oh,
was great.
did you see the different transition between Harold from season one and season two? Where season one he was all full antagonist mode, but then
Yes,
season two, Wolfgang was introduced because
that's
Taran's
right.
voice got deeper,
Yep,
and he became like the new antagonist. Well, Harold became more of like a sympathetic character,
you're right.
sympathetic
I
character.
totally saw that, and I think that was a great transition for Harold because he became more obsessed with his mommy, mommy,
Hey,
Madam Fortress, mommy.
it only had two fights.
And he was more authentic and more real because a lot of times kids pick on other kids because they are insecure and they're dealing with stuff at home. And what I loved about the show is we really got to get a sense of who Harold was. He wanted to be a butcher. He was a little bit troubled. um, he sometimes he didn't do all the best things, but he learned from his mistakes and he got better. And that's one of the just some of the greatest stuff about Hey Arnold was how all the characters grew and changed and became more dynamic, just like we do in real life.
I agree. And I also want to like say like, did you have like a least favorite episode? Because to me, like my least favorite episode, I guess because I don't think karma was well deserved in this one, but that was Arnold betrays Iggy.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I don't remember for me, frankly, like a least favorite episode. I will tell you a little funny side note. So a lot of times in the episodes we would sing, all of us
Yes,
would sing together. So I have to tell you, my voice as a singing actor is not the best. I think sometimes I like to pretend and think that I'm a great singer, but apparently I'm not the greatest. So Jim Lang, Jim's the guy that recorded all the soundtrack for Hey Arnold, brilliant guy, incredible musician. He came up with all the songs. So what would happen is the whole cast would sing together. I'd have to not sing, and then they would record me separately to sing, and then they'd put me in it.
and that's what we did with the episode "What's Opera," Arnold, right?
That's right, exactly. Yep,
And
you got it.
I still remember. I thought you were one. I thought you were one hell of a singer, though, especially when you were like, "Look at me, Arnold! I'm a clown."
A big fat happy clown. Yeah,
I
I
I
thought it was
love.
great. What about Harold's bar mitzvah? Did you like that one?
Oh, yes, because I mean, I love that one. When he goes to Elk Island, he wants to rent the canoe.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something about that episode? Like, I'll never forget this. Like watching it because it aired back to back with the episode Hall Monitor, in which Andy got her spotlight as Phoebe.
Yeah.
Um, but with Harold's bar mitzvah, that episode aired like the day after my cousin was born.
Really?
Yep.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Well, I thought
Nice.
it was cool, and there's so many Harold episodes. If you would ask me my favorite Harold episode, it's a tie between uh Harold the Butcher
I
and
love Harold the Butcher. I love
Sid.
Harold the Butcher. That's a great one.
He looks so great in that episode, like especially like when he's asking Mr. Green, "What's the difference between a rub roast and a butt steak?"
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
And then
funny.
at the end of the episode, Harold goes back and says, he really wants to work with him. It's so great because Harold grew so much in the episode, right? I mean, he didn't want to do it initially, and then by the end, he's like, "No, I like this. This could be my calling."
Yeah, and I think he's great. Like even like because we all learned that in the first movie that Mr. Green's son is a vegetarian.
Right.
So I think Harold should have taken over the butcher shop, like as
I
like
agree. I think if we ever saw Hey Arnold as like adults, what happened to them? I think Harold would be a butcher.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And my other one, because you also had very good like dynamic chemistry with her, is when you worked with in Hey Harold with Big Patty with Danielle.
Oh yes, yes, Danielle, she's wonderful. Yeah, Harold and Big Patty, they were really funny together. We had, because Harold had a crush on Big Patty. That was really fun.
Man, I could say this one, like at the end, like the very end of the episode when Stinky and Sid were teasing her. I never seen you so emote so much as Harold. Like at the end, went on a rant about like how they were just being so rude and terrible to Big Patty.
Oh, they were exactly. They were picking on her, which was mean. So yeah, I love Big Patty. She's great. She's still a friend of mine. I mean, I see her in LA every now and then. She's married with a kid. She's great, Danielle.
Very cool. Like, and like another episode, like I love. I mean, maybe because I love the. I mean, like we talked about Harold's bar mitzvah. We talked about Hey Harold. Another episode that many people don't talk about. And it's actually a really cool episode because you can see Harold like basically be very influential in this episode, and that is what was it? Wayne Harold.
Oh yes, that's right. What happened in that one? I remember that. What happened?
He goes to camp to lose weight, but he comes back heavier and
Yes.
then loses the weight. He goes back to his normal size. But it's just like you get to see Jolly Ollie Man be a real jerk in that episode.
Yeah.
he, said, he says to Harold, if I had a bunch of customers like you, I could retire and move to Florida. I was like, that's so mean.
That is mean. That's terrible. You're right. Yeah. Jolly Ollie Man. He was great.
Dan Castellaneta, that guy, I don't. He is such a true funny man.
Yeah.
Like forget like we know he's Homer Simpson, but this guy was Grandpa. And Hey Arnold, he was the doctor. What was it, Doctor Sterling?
Brilliant. Dan Castellani. I mean, God, the guy, he is an absolute genius. To watch him work whenever he was doing Grandpa or some of the other characters, because he's just sort of like, you look at him in person and you think he just looks sort of like an everyman. He just looks just like a normal kind of guy. You wouldn't pick him out when you're walking down the street as somebody who is this just unbelievable voiceover actor, just brilliant. He's a great actor too. He's done a lot of on-camera work as his wonderful actor, but man, is he talented.
And I mean, you worked like you're a legend like to all '90s kids. But then we get like we have like other legends too. Like you worked with some of the best names in the biz. You worked with Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould, who was the rabbi. I mean, talk about a legend. He's a god. He's an icon. He was so fun to work with. Such a sweet man, brilliant, talented actor. So much fun when he's playing the rabbi. Harold, come over here. It's like you're misbehaving. Oh, okay. You want to hear something funny regarding the Harold's bar mitzvah? So I'm Jewish, and a buddy of mine is, a Jewish guy who's very orthodox. He's super religious. I'm, sort of more spiritual. Anyway, I had just had my bar mitzvah when we did that episode, and Craig, the creator of the series, said, "Listen, we're thinking of writing an episode about Harold having a bar mitzvah. Can you come back to me with some of the Jewish prayers that Harold would say when he's on the bima during the actual bar mitzvah portion?" So I said, "Sure." Well, for some reason, I didn't remember the portion from my bar mitzvah, so I went to my friend, and he wrote down all the prayers for me. So I gave them to Craig. Craig put them in the script. I read them. The episode comes out. My buddy calls me and he said, "You were doing the wrong prayers." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You were doing the prayers for the wine and the bread during the bar mitzvah. Those are the wrong ones." Somehow I messed them up, but it still came out fine.
So when you were reading like the prayers when Harold was doing a bar mitzvah, that was the prayer for the bread and wine.
Yes. Is that
Oh,
funny or what?
It's hilarious.
Uh,
I would have never thought that.
no, I didn't even realize it. It was my buddy that told me after the episode came out.
I see, and like another like episode where like Harold, like I just he was so funny in that episode, but I feel bad for him. What happened at the end was Helga's makeover.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
I
tough.
felt bad, but because I remember you going like you were saying Francesca like during the reading, you were going, Helga's not a girl, Helga's not a girl. I was just dying of laughter when I saw that.
Harold could be mean for sure.
Like, wait a minute, I know you weren't invited to that party. It's because you're not girl enough. Oh,
Yep. That was fun. Oh man, we had
Harold,
good times.
poor Harold at the end.
Oh yeah, he was destroyed. We got to bring Hey Arnold back so we can have more fun.
And even like and other names you worked with too, like you worked with Maurice LaMarche, who was another great
Yes,
movie.
brilliant. Gosh, he's brilliant. Yeah,
Cat
just a lovely guy.
Susie, who played your mom in the
That's
show.
right. That's right. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
guy
I've
that,
worked with some legends.
yeah, you like you were surrounded like with people like you worked with Tress McNeil, another name.
Yes, she's a legend.
It's like
She's a
the
legend. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with them all. They're wonderful people. They're just really kind, talented actors.
what was the name of the gentleman? He did the voice of your father in the show, but he also did Principal Warts.
What is his name? I know who you're talking about. Fabulous actor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's terrific.
Dan Butler. Like anytime you and Dan Butler have interaction as Mr. Simmons and Harold's is always fun.
Yes, Mr. Simmons. Come on, class, pipe down. Class, take out your books.
He's like, Harold, put away that sandwich before I make you put it. But I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Oh, that was so funny. Like another one, like because you get to see Harold's intellectual side too, was the aptitude test episode.
That's right. That's right. What did you like about it?
I like that, we got to see a side that we never really see, like of how we got him see, like, he could be, very smart and intellectual when he's motivated.
That's right. He really could be. He was a sweet kid, and he could be smart and focused when he wanted to be. But sometimes he liked to goof off, like we all do as kids. What can what are you gonna do?
And I remember in that episode too, you did your trademark scream. You went, "Ah, I'm dumb as a rock. I'm dumber than a bag of hammers." Oh,
That
it
was
was
fun.
I mean, there's so many great episodes. Like again, like you worked with Danny Kuski, who as Stoop Kid. Like, and it's so cool just seeing two people that play bullies on two different shows interact. Would you say though, like Glenn was like the original prototype to Harold in some aspects? Do you see any similarities between them?
I do. I do see similarities. Yes. Glenn, I think, was a little bit meaner than Harold. But yeah, you're right. I think there was a part of maybe Harold that sort of stemmed from Glenn. There was some overlap a little bit in the characters. There was a lot of stuff that was different between them, but there was inspiration taken from Glenn. You're absolutely right.
Sweet. And another episode where like I love Harold and Helga episodes. That's why I love buses, subway, and bikes.
Yep. That was great.
It's like I know we know Harold makes his flaws, but you know what? Give the guy a chance. Like, and he proved at the end when he took Helga to WrestleMania.
Exactly. See, he had a heart. He was a sweet kid.
Yeah, like and like I like with Harold though, and even like you probably had enjoy doing this one, Harold's kitty.
Oh, Harold's kitty. Remember how much he loved the kitty?
As Cupcake, he named her.
He's petting the kitty.
Like that one, there was so many great episodes. Like I said, like anything with Big Patty, like the arm wrestling episode was
Oh,
cool.
that was so funny. Yeah, that was really funny. Yeah, I mean, there were so many great episodes. You're right. It's hard to choose like a favorite one. There are tons. They're all so good. They're so good. I mean, I watch Hey Arnold now, and I mean, I get enraptured in it. Do you still watch the show?
Absolutely, like I have the
Right.
DVD box.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you have the original recordings. Was that on VHS?
No, I actually recorded it when it actually aired.
So, but what did you record it on? Did you record it on VHS tape?
A blank VHS tape.
That's cool. That's worth some dinero, I bet.
Funny Harold moments. I love, um, The one where they go to Weez and Ed's cave, and when he sees the two guys, Vic and Maury, running, he's going, "Ah, no, mommy, save me!" And I think that episode also features Mark Hamill in it as the police officer.
Yeah, what a brilliant guy, huh? I mean,
Yeah,
that's Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, Joker.
Yeah, he's
Actually
brilliant.
worked, you actually worked with him as the Joker too when you were
Yeah,
Henry Hamilton.
yeah, yeah. He was a super nice guy, super chill. I mean, you'd no ego. You'd have no idea the guy was like, starring in Star Wars back in the day.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What do you think of the 1997 area of Nagelvision?
I tell you what, it looks amazing. I'm surprised. Like, it looks so good. I thought it would be sort of fuzzy and the colors wouldn't look so great, but it looked perfect. I mean, it looked terrific. That's great. You got to keep that. I mean, that thing is vintage. I actually got to rock in a couple of minutes because I'm having dinner because it's almost 8 o'clock here. Is that okay?
Absolutely. I just two things, but before we conclude our conversation, I
Please.
want to pose for a picture, like a 5-second pose,
Yeah.
and because this is an open forum, Justin, before like we leave, you can plug anything you want, whether it's your website, you can plug anything you want.
Cool. So
Okay.
what do you want me to do?
Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say three, and then we'll hold a pose for 3 to 5 seconds,
Okay.
like the smile,
Yeah.
for the profile picture.
Profile or straight on?
Like, well, when I post the YouTube video, because
Okay.
I'm doing a blessing, right, to
Yeah.
put the video. Okay. This will be the frame grab, the thumbnail.
I got you. Okay. You tell me when
Okay.
and I'll stay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can plug
You want me to
anything you
introduce
want.
myself?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Justin Shenkarow. I had such a great pleasure and honor of working on Hey Arnold as Harold. Come here, Arnold. I'll pound you. I also played Simon Holmes on Erie, Indiana. I did Life with Louie playing Glenn and Grunwald. I was on Batman, 101 Dalmatians, Recess, Picket Fences, all sorts of really fun 90s cool cartoons and shows. And I'm just so excited to talk to you guys today, talk to Pete about all these 90s iconic shows and characters I got to play and shows I got to work on. So watch this episode. It's awesome, or I'll pound ya!
Now, what I'm gonna do, Justin, is that I'm gonna say bye, but the thing though is that the Skype call won't record unless I press the stop record button. So what I'll do is that I'll let you know when I'm stop recording. Like I'll say, like I'll conclude it like you're saying, like thank you for having you on, and you have an awesome day. And then when I say have an awesome day, I'm gonna stop recording. I'll let you know that I'm stopped recording.
And then it's done. Is that right?
Yeah, and then I'll let you know when it's done recording, and then we can conclude from there.
Okay, cool. Oh, and then
Okay,
plugging. Do I do that now?
please. Floor is
Please.
yours.
Okay. Check me out on Instagram, instagram.com/Justin Shenkarow, twitter.com/Justin Shenkarow, facebook.com/Justin Shenkarow, and help me bring Erie, Indiana back. Let's reboot Erie. All you got to do is tweet at Hearst and at Lionsgate. Tell them you want to bring Erie back. They own the rights to the show, so they make the decision. But you're the fans. I'm a fan. I want to bring it back, and I need your help. Let's do it. Let's bring Erie, Indiana back.
That was awesome, bro.
Cool.
I thank you so much. This was a total honor because again, I grew up watching you as a kid, so this was a total honor for me because, like I said, you're a legend to all '90s kids out there and to all Hey Arnold fans.
Oh, you're so kind. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Pete. This has been super fun. Thank you for having me on your show. I loved it.
Thank you so much, man.
And if
But
if you ever if you have questions or anything in the future, just hit me up. I'm happy to hop back on your show or just talk offline. This is so fun.
I love to do a sequel episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it in the future, bro.
Okay.
Okay, you have an awesome night, man.
Thank you, Pete.